Hey guys, welcome back to HotS Thoughts. Now, today, we just had a gigantic patch. I actually had a video that I prepared for that patch where I went over all the changes, did a patch preview and everything, but then I accidentally saved over the file with the new file that I was encoding, and so it destroyed the original file that it was encoding, so it couldn't encode. Basically, I lost the video. But that's okay. We're back here. I'm not going to talk about the entire patch. It's a little bit too late to talk about that, but I am going to talk about one thing in particular. I'm going to talk about Zeratul today. Now, I did my very first hot slots actually was about Zeratul way back in the day, where I talked about how he had kind of undergone this change in the meta. He had gone from this in like summer of 2015. He was generally a very mobile assassin that would just like completely stomp on these three ranged compositions because he did so much damage at the time. And over time he kind of evolved as the compositions got tankier. He didn't get any changes, but the compositions got tankier. We started moving into double and triple warrior meta, and as a result Zeratul started getting a little bit different. Now we're kind of at a crossroads in the meta where things have been very different ever since we had the quote-unquote specialist patch, where minions started doing a lot more damage to towers and things like that. And we've kind of seen also a move towards double warrior, double support, but at the same time there's still a lot of things that make Zeratul good in this meta. So he's been growing in popularity, I think, over the past like month or two, and he just got a big rework, which I think makes him even more powerful than he was before, and has basically catapulted him to the top of the meta. So I'm just going to examine some of the changes today, and talk about why he's more powerful now, and what we can expect from his new playstyle. So, just go ahead and jump straight. I'm not going to go over all the things in these patch notes, but I want to look at the patch notes real quick and just outline some of the big things. So the big thing is he got a maximum health increase and a health regen increase. This is, I believe I calculated this out to be 5% increase, and it makes up for the fact that all of his level 1 defensive talents, such as block and regeneration master, went away, and also some of the later defensive talents like stone skin and first aid also went away. So he has technically a lot less tankiness overall than he used to have, but it's been added to his base kit, so he's stronger in the very beginning. And I think that's a big point to make. That means that he's even stronger in the beginning of the game, but later on in the game he's slightly less tankier than he was before. Overall, I think it's above. So Singularity Spike, mana cost was increased, but Blink was reduced. So basically, this isn't really much to notice. Like the only big thing is like there is a 5 mana difference. So technically, if you do your combo, like the old wormhole combo where you'd blink in, you'd do QW and then blink back out, right? That was, however much mana. There's technically a disparity of 5 mana here. You're technically spending 5 more mana than before, but I don't think it's a big deal. The big thing to note is just that his mobility has been increased, and you can see it with a lot of these other talents that are coming in. So I'm not going to go over every single talent, but I will say that a lot of his big power spikes in his old builds, particularly Vorpal Blade, follow through, which is now called Combo Slash, and the Wormhole, have all been moved up a talent tier. So before, you used to have Vorpal Blade at 4, now it's at 1. You used to have Follow Through at 7, now it's at 4, and Wormhole is at 13, now it's at 7. So the big thing is all of his power spikes got moved up, and in addition to him being tankier, he is just a lot more powerful in the early game. Before 10, he's basically the full champion that he was, before the patch. So that's really cool. The scary thing is he also got more power spikes after 10. So, level 13 has kind of become his defensive tier now. He's got the Shroud of Adun, which is basically he gets a shield when he's cloaked. He also got Mending Strikes, aka Vigorous Strikes, aka whatever it used to be before. Vampiric Attack. Vampiric Attack was what it was, yeah. So he got that. And there's also, I believe, Spell Shield is still at this talent tier. So this is basically his defensive talent tier. And then level 16 is the big damage talent tier. He's got Void Slash, which is like an increased cleave thing. Master Warp Blade was moved here, and now it's really, really powerful. And then Sentence to Death, which is your poke style thing. When Singularity Spike is attached to someone, you do 50% more damage. So huge power spike there. So basically this means that his damage overall went through the roof. Like, it's actually so much powerful. They didn't change any of his damage numbers, so he actually just does way more damage now. So just to show you guys one of the builds. So now we're in the game. So if we do kind of like the old Zeratul build, it's going to be Vorpal Blade at 1, then Combo Slash, aka Follow Through at 4, and then Wormhole at 7, Void Prison. Actually, hold on, let me set this to 20. Go through the entire thing. Vorpal Blade, Combo Slash, Wormhole, Void Prison. Any of these are good. Shroud of Adun tends to be the kind of go-to, but the other ones do have their particular times. It's weird that it says it empowers the W. Whatever. I think there was a problem with like one of the other talents where it said it empowered something else. It was really weird. Yeah, Subliminal Shadow says it affects his passive. Anyhow, so Shroud of Adun, and then Sentence to Death, and Rewind. So this is his big poke style build. This is where you blink in and do a bunch of damage to people. So. Yeah, so that's basically Zeratul. I think we all know that kind of style. And then so if we reset the talents, the old cleave build, which was pretty bad in my opinion, now has a new build, which is I think a lot better. It's still not nearly as good as the one that I just mentioned, but it's it could be used if you really want to. Greater Cleave, Rending Cleave. You still want to get Wormhole because it's still a poke build. Void Prison. I think Shroud of Adun because this is a poke build. And then Void Slash. So this is basically you just pick all the Q talents wherever they're possible, and it just does that on an AoE. So. And then what other another dumb one that I was playing around with, which is actually kind of cool, but it's kind of more an auto attack based one. I don't think we'll see this anytime in the current meta because poke is a little bit too necessary. But if we ever reach a point like where Zeratul was last year, we may see more of this build. Basically, it's one that empowers a lot of blink talents and sustained damage. So I go Shadow Hunter at level 1. Basically what this means is it lowers the cost of blink, mana cost, and also your basic attacks. Once you gather enough globes, your basic attacks reduce the cooldown of blink by 0.75 seconds. And this is going to be important because we're going to get level 7 talent Slip into the Shadow. So at this one we still go Combo Slash because we want the AAs. And Slip into the Shadow, the reason why I do Slip into the Shadow here is because this was really just kind of like a troll like full blink build that I did, but it actually ended up being pretty good. You can technically still go Wormhole here, but Slip into the Shadow has this nice synergy with Shadow Hunter. So I've been playing around with that. It is done. And then Shroud of Adun still, or Mending Strikes. Actually both are pretty good here. Mending Strikes is probably technically better for this style. and then you go Master Warblade, and either Nexus Blades or Rewind, depending on what you need in the situation. And this is kind of similar to the Zeratul that I showed last year, which basically your main goal is to just auto attack, just follow people around and auto attack them. And you have the 2 blinks, so you know you can get around. The nice thing about the double blink is that it allows you to just be a little bit more mobile. And once you get the all the stacks up on your level 1 talent, Shadow Hunter, then you can greatly reduce this blink cooldown and make up for the fact that it's increased by 8 seconds. The only big downside of this is you don't really have the same sort of poke that you do with the other build. Because you don't have Wormhole, you can't really do this thing, the poke that you used to do. I'm waiting for this charge to cool down real quick. You can't do this thing where you used to do, where you would jump out. Because now you see, like, in order to do that again, I have to wait a full 15 seconds for the first charge, and then 16 seconds, or 18 actually, for the second charge. So it's, you know, approximately, you know, over half a minute before I can actually use it again. So it's not great, and that's why I say that Wormhole could be useful here, depending on which kind of style you want to do. This is the nice thing about Slipping into the Shadows is it allows you to do a little bit longer trades. So, you know, for instance, if I do this, where I blink in, I can trade for much longer than 2 seconds, and then still blink out. So that's the nice thing about it. It also kind of does pretty well with follow through as well, because you have 2 blinks. You technically get 2 charges of follow through. That's pretty nice. But this was just like a silly little thing that I decided to play around with, and it actually works pretty nicely. But it's not particularly ideal in this meta. Like I said before, you kind of want this Vorpal Blade combo slash, Wormhole, Void Prison, Shroud of a Dune, Sentence to Death, and Rewind. I haven't really played around with the level 7 talent Seeker in the Dark. That's something that I think could be really cool, but I haven't really done a lot of research with it.
Rather entertaining.
I think it might be really cool, especially since because it takes 50% longer to explode. It combos really well with Sentence to Death because you can get, you know, a lot more damage in there, and it also makes you a little bit stickier. But again, because you're foregoing the Wormhole, you kind of don't have that same sort of poke that you do normally. So you have to do a lot more of like literally walking up to people. To some degree, like, you do have a little bit of poke because you can kind of throw it from far away and jump onto them. It's still not ideal compared to Wormhole. So that's basically it as far as just showing off some of the builds and stuff. I think basically what you're gonna see from this point onwards is you're going to see a big difference in how much he appears in the meta, because right now a lot of the reason that he is making this comeback in the meta is because we're having kind of this double healer, more sustained damage come back in. And Void Prison is always good, right? Void Prison is never really ever going to go out of style. But we're seeing a lot more, I think, backline heavy teams, seeing a lot of Gul'dan, a lot of Vala, a lot of Li Ming right now. Those 3 heroes in particular, a lot of Falstad as well, are really, they make up the backbone of a lot of things. And because we're having a lot of sustained healers like Brightwing and Ariel and Lieutenant Morales, those are situations where Zeratul thrives because he can quickly get in and kill somebody before anything happens. Or at the very worst case, he can go in, Void Prison, and kill somebody before anything could happen. So he's very powerful in that respect. He really does do a lot of damage. When you have double and triple tank, it's a little bit more difficult for him. But I think in the current meta, we don't have that as often, or we have a lot of tanks that aren't necessarily well suited to dealing with him. Because back in the day when we had like the double and triple tanks, you know, you'd have stuff like Tyrael Muradin or like ETC Tyrael, or sometimes you'd have like an Arthas or something in there. And those aren't heroes that we see a lot these days. Usually we'll see, if we do see like double tank, it's usually like Muradin on the off tank, like ETC Muradin, Johanna Muradin. They're not quite as well suited to dealing with the Zeratul, especially with the Void Prison. So it's more difficult. We're seeing a lot less Tassadar and a lot more reveal spells. Although with the new scouting drone, that may change a little bit. We'll have to see. There's a lot of reasons why Zeratul is very powerful right now, and the fact that he does even more damage than before makes him especially scary. So it's one of those things that we have to keep in mind. We have to keep looking for, and kind of gauge the power of Zeratul, because there's a very real chance that he may become as overpowered as he was in summer 2015, back when he was always first pick, first ban. It's difficult to tell. Right now he's competing with Muradin. Ever since Muradin got the Skullcracker upgrade, he's basically invincible. Skullcracker Muradin is absolutely freaking ridiculous. He does so much damage, it's not even funny. But I think Zeratul is right up there. Currently, I think Zeratul is actually the most powerful hero in the game, alongside Muradin. And we're going to see a lot more targeted bans and picks coming forward from that. So that's basically all I have to say about Zeratul. Oh, there is one more thing. His auto attack build, the Shadow Assault build, got huge mega nerfed since he doesn't have searing attacks anymore. We may not see that again. We'll have to see. It's pretty weak now. Like I said, the auto attack build that I was doing is kind of a sustained damage thing. I don't think it works very well even with Shadow Assault. So we'll have to see how things work out. But I don't think Shadow Assault's gonna see play for a very, very, very long time now. So that's all for Zeratul. I hope you guys enjoyed. If there's anything you think that I missed or that I glossed over, just let me know in the comments down below. I am really excited about playing Zeratul because I spammed him a bunch right before the patch. So I'm really excited about playing him now that he's even stronger. I think you can really carry games on him. So glad to see it, and I'll see you guys next time on the next HotS Thoughts. Later.